Parshas Pinchas, Tov Shin, Pei Vav. Today's S.S.S. Tammuz. A lot going on here. We're coming up to the Bein HaMetzorim. 3 weeks now between S.S.S. Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, which we still hope will be a Yom Tif. And Parshas Pinchas, just so much to talk about in this week's Parsha. You know, we have over 100-degree weather here in Lakewood, New Jersey, the east coast of the United States, getting fried. So a lot doing here. But we're going to get right into the Parsha, our Nesivos Shalom Shir. Of course, we're doing it at a different location this week due to the Tainus Shavasa Tammuz. At the end of the Tainus today, falls out exactly the time that we normally say our shir, so we moved the time around a little bit. Hopefully we'll even post it a little early this week, so you'll have some more time to listen to the shir. And the pasuk at the beginning of the parasha tells us, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen Heishiv es Chamasimi al Bnei Yisrael Lochein Emor. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Pinchas, you saved Klal Yisrael from more people getting killed out. You kaviyachol calm down the anger of Hashem on Klal Yisrael. So Hashem is telling Pinchas, Lochein emor, hineni noisein loy es brisi shalom. Hashem is saying that Pinchas, because of what you did, I'm giving you this great reward. I'm going to give you the covenant of shalom. And the Torah, let's continue a little bit further in the Torah. The Torah continues after that the bracha is not just for Pinchas. The bracha continues for future generations too. This great bracha that I'm giving you is going to go on for future generations. V'hoyisaloi ulazaroi acharav. This bracha that I'm giving you, it's going to be to you, to Pinchas, and to his children, generations that come after him. Brisku nas oilam. Why? Tachas hashakini lelekava yichaper al bnei Yisrael. Pinchas, you're getting this amazing, great reward, which will not just be for you, it's going to be for you and your children and for generations going forward. Why? Because Pinchas had done this heroic act of stopping Bnei Yisrael from doing this terrible Avera, and now he was being rewarded for that. So Nesivos Shalom asks, how do we understand this reward that Pinchas is getting for that act? The act we know that Pinchas did, the act was one of tremendous gevura, tremendous strength. Pinchas went ahead and he killed a Nasi in Klal Yisrael. Pinchas killed a Nasi, tremendous act of strength, of gevura, of what he did. So the reward should have been that I'm giving you and your children a bracha of gevura, that you'll have gevura, you'll have the strength to do whatever. It should have been a bracha going forward of gevura. Yet, what do we see? We see that Pinchas received this tremendous bracha of shalom, and shalom is a lot different than gevura. Shalom is kuloi chesed, as we know. So what's the midah keneged midah over here, where the act was one of great gevura, strength, and the reward was one of chesed? It would seem that one is very, very far from the other. How does one connect to the other? So Nesivos Shalom answers, and he says, you know what we have to understand? He says, we need to understand that the Maisa that Pinchas did of killing the Nasi, and everything that Pinchas did was actually was a Maisa of total chesed. We know in last week's parsha, at the end of the parsha, the Torah tells us, Vayar Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen. That Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, Vayar, he saw. And what did he do? Vayakam, he stood up, mitocha Eda. Vayakam mitocha Eda, he stood up from within Klal Yisrael. Vayikach roimach biyadai, and he lifted this roimach in his hand. So the Nesivos Shalom tells us, what does that pasuk mean? Vayar Pinchas. So what did Pinchas actually see? Says in Nesivos Shalom, and he brings down that what Pinchas actually saw was the bizayon that was now being caused to the image of Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael, we know, as a tremendous high image that Klal Yisrael is Kedoshim. Klal Yisrael is a holy nation, and right in the middle of Bnei Yisrael, of this holy nation, something like this is going on. Such a Maisa, such an Aveira is going on in Klal Yisrael. That's Vayar Pinchas. That's what Pinchas saw, says in the Nesivos Shalom. The Torah's Avos adds, the Torah's Avos tells us, brought down in the Nesivos Shalom, that Vayokam mitoicha Eda, the words, the pasuk tells us that Pinchas stood up mitoicha Eda, from within the Klal Yisrael. Vayokam mitoicha Eda is telling us, says in Nesivos Shalom, that he got up mitoicha Eda, from his great love of Klal Yisrael, from his great concern and love for Klal Yisrael, from the feeling of achrayus for Klal Yisrael. He got up to do something because he cared so much of Klal Yisrael. He felt for Klal Yisrael. And Pinchas felt, how can I keep quiet? How can he keep quiet while this is going on and it's doing so much damage to the reputation of what Klal Yisrael is? So Pinchas, says in the Nesivos Shalom, was acting out of avada, out of the midas hachesed. He felt bad for what is happening to Klal Yisrael. He had rachmanos on Bnei Yisrael. And the pasuk especially makes sure to go back when the pasuk says Vayar Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. The Torah goes back. It could have just said that Pinchas saw. We know who Pinchas is, right? But the Torah goes back 3 generations when mentioning Pinchas to make sure that we understand that it was a Ma'aser Chesed, that we understand and we know that Pinchas was the grandson of Aaron HaKohen. So the Torah goes all the way back and tells us the son of Elazar, the grandson of Aaron HaKohen, to know that Pinchas had that lineage, had those same midos of Aaron HaKohen, who was total Chesed. He was Oiv Shalom. Shalom, Pinchas did it out of love for Klal Yisrael, out of the concern and out of his caring about every single Yid. So the Torah goes ahead and tells us, yeah, Pinchas was the grandson of Aaron HaKohen. He didn't get up out of just being angry and didn't get up of just gevura. No, Pinchas got up because he loved Klal Yisrael so much that he was doing a midas hachesed. Pinchas was the same as his grandfather, Aaron HaKohen. And this Maisa that he did too, this that Pinchas did, that also came from Chesed, from caring about every single Yid. He got up to protect the Kavod and Kedusha of Klal Yisrael, even though Lamaisa, the act that Pinchas did was taka an act of gevura. Yes, it was an act of gevura that was done, but Hashem knows the machshavos of every person. Pinchas didn't do it out of anger. Hashem knows what every person is thinking deep in their heart and where it was coming from and why Pinchas acted. Pinchas acted out of love and out of caring. So now we can understand that the schar of shalom, which is kulei chesed, we know when there's shalom in the world, and in order for shalom to happen, it has to be kulei chesed and ahava and everything in that category. The reward, this great reward of peace, of shalom, that Pinchas received was taka. That was really taka mida keneged mida, that he received shalom and kahuna for his children and future generations It's mamish mida keneged mida, because there was no person like Pinchas who cared so much for every part of Klal Yisrael, for the Klal Yisrael's name and Klal Yisrael's reputation and Klal Yisrael's kedusha and all the feelings of Klal Yisrael. Pinchas felt that. He got it from his Zayda, from his grandfather Aaron HaKohen. So the Torah goes out of the way in last week's parsha to tell us Vayar Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, and we start off our parsha also Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen to tell us that it came from a really good place. It came from a place of chesed, and that's why Chazal tell us that Pinchas became Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hanavi, we know Eliyahu Hanavi was Pinchas. What do you mean, Pinchas? A kanoi? No, that's not the part. Eliyahu Hanavi, we know, is kuloi chesed. Eliyahu Hanavi is always the one who is constantly being malamed chus on Klal Yisrael. Eliyahu Hanavi is always pushing the virtues and extolling the virtues of Klal Yisrael and being malamed chus and always saying good things about Klal Yisrael. So Pinchas ze Eliyahu. Pinchas became Eliyahu. Chazal are telling us that, yeah, that's where Eliyahu's personality came from. It comes from someone like Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, who cares so much about every Yid. And just to end off the shir, connected a little bit to today, to Shavasa Tammuz, to connect it to the Bein HaMitzarim, this midah of love for every Yid and caring of every Yid is something every one of us has to concentrate on. The Bein Adam Lachaveroi, caring about every Yid, whether he looks like you or he doesn't look like you, and he has your minhagim, he doesn't have your minhagim, he lives in your neighborhood, he doesn't live in your neighborhood, he's in your school, he's not in your school. You have to love and care for every Yid. What a bracha of shalom is given to people, is given to someone who shows this love and shows this caring for every member of Klal Yisrael. And we know the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam. Famously, the Chafetz Chaim talks about it. Chafetz Chaim tells us that we all, maybe we try to excuse ourselves, but we all tell ourselves that, our ancestors, what they did, the sinas chinam, they destroyed this mikdash, terrible, terrible, terrible. Chafetz Chaim says, no, it doesn't work that way. If the Beis HaMikdash is not built today, if it's not built this week, it's our fault. Because Hashem is ready. Eliyahu Hanavi is saying this chusim, he's pushing, he wants to come already. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants Mashiach to come. But Mashiach cannot come because we are holding Mashiach back. We are holding back Mashiach because we are carrying on, obviously, by the fact that Mashiach is not here, we're carrying on with the same problem that our ancestors had many, many, many years ago. Of course, there are great strides and people start different zachen and different learning and different programs and different things of chesed. But Hashem is telling us, obviously, that we need to do more. Let this be the year that we taka our oyev shalom, roidev shalom, oyev sabrias. We take on the midos of Aaron HaKohen, the midos of Pinchas, and in that schus, may we all be zeicha to the ultimate bracha of shalom, where Mashiach is going to bring shalom to the world. We could certainly use it in more ways than one right now, but every person has to do their part. And we're looking forward to good news really soon.